Good morning, PT on Ice Daily Show. How's it going? Um, Twice in 1 week, I get to join you. I am Dr. Lindsay Huey, lead faculty for our Extremity Management Division, and I'm so honored to be with you all on a Leadership Thursday, which is an unusual day of the week for me, as I usually join you on a clinical Tuesday. So, again, feel honored to be here. Before I kind of dive into today's topic, which is entitled Meet Them at Their Story. I want to shout out to Ebony Rio for that title as she kind of said this, and it struck me when she was talking about tendinopathy rehab and the importance of meeting a human at their story. And I just really found myself at the end of the year reflecting on, what do we do as PTs? What is our main role and our most important role? And that's really my inspiration for today's show. But before I dive into that, I want to tell you about all things happening in January, and then I want to review Gut Check Thursday. So in January, especially January 14th, 15th, we are stacked with courses. We have two extremity management courses, one in Maplewood, Minnesota, one in Paoli, PA. We have at Total Spine Thrust at Glencoe, Maryland, and then Fitness Athlete in Georgia. We have two older adult lives, one in National City, California, and then one in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And then finally, lumbar spine management. So all of our divisions are kicking it off 14th, 15th. Be there because that weekend will be full of fitness forward energy. Also, before the 14th, 15th, we're starting out a lot of our live courses. So January 3rd, we have Rehab of the Injured Runner. January 4th, Older Adult Essential Foundation starts. And our primary care physical therapy course and persistent pain comprehensive management course both start January 9th. And then our fitness athlete pregnancy and postpartum starts then as well. In January 12th, our older adult advanced concepts. So if you've taken essential foundations and you're ready to build, please join us. I think I'm going to jump into one of those modern management of the older adult classes in 2023. So just please join us at the beginning of 2023. We have lots of offerings. So Gut Check Thursday. It is both simple and challenging. It is an AMRAP of 7 minutes where we're doing a burpee to a 6-inch target. So one movement, right? Our chest and thighs hit the deck, and then we explode up and jump, and our hip, knees extend. So pretty simple, right? And you have to hit those fingertips on the 6-inch target. But 7 minutes, it's quite a bit of time, team. The movement standards are on Instagram. Please check it out. There's scaling options as well. But I do want to give you some targets to hit. So from a low perspective, we have CEO Jeff Moore at 91 reps. From a high perspective, we have 116 with Mitch Babcock. And then in the middle is Dr. Justin Dunaway at 109. So pick your poison of who you want to go after the number to beat. Mine is always to beat Jeff Moore. So that's what I'll be going after. I still haven't done this workout, but I can't wait to do it. Check out Justin Dunaway's post as well. This is a great challenge that Mitch put out for us a few weeks ago. As a healthcare practitioner, how many reps can you do in those 7 minutes? So we look forward to seeing all these gut checks going up. So please tag Ice Physio and hashtag Gut Check Thursday. All right, so let's get into the topic at hand. As we're ending out 2022 and we're forward thinking to 2023, I want us all thinking about how we can care for our patients well in the rest of this year, and then as we move into 2023. And so, what I really see as PTs, we have really two primary roles, and that is we reframe and we build margin. But before we can do those two primary things, we have to meet our patient at their story. And when I say that, I want to unpack what that means just a little bit before I unpack the two things that we do if we're doing our job well. Meeting a human at their story, it spans all of our divisions. It spans all settings and it spans across the lifespan, right? So I'm going to give you just a couple scenarios to think about that. So it's the 6-year-old who's very active, that was recently told their knee is pretty banged up. Um, they have bone on bone when they went to the doctor after a pickleball match. It's the older adult who lives alone and fears falling that you're seeing in home care. It's the 10-year-old soccer player with the knee pain that plays soccer 6 days a week, travel and school league, and he's entering at your fast-paced outpatient clinic and needs help with his knee. It's the new mom struggling with postpartum depression and a new body she doesn't recognize, and she has pelvic pain with sex. It's the fitness athlete that hasn't PR'd their deadlift in over a year due to a history of recurrent low back pain, and they fear re injury. So they're coming to you for health and wellness services in a cash based practice. It's the 45-year-old with chronic neck and back pain that hasn't had a good night's rest in years, has been told nothing's wrong with them since their work injury 5 years ago. Each one of these scenarios has a deeper story that matters. And it's our job to be present to that story. It's not just about their behavior symptoms, it's not just about their sins. Definitely, we want to nail this, right? In order to create a plan of care that respects irritability. And if you've been to one of our courses, you know this. But we also need to know why helping them matters most to them and their story. And I don't mean that 40-minute long story about this happened 10 years ago, it all started 10 years ago when this happened, right? I don't mean that story. I mean, once you have nailed down symptomatology, get the story that includes assessing that human's beliefs and their expectations, right? Assess their beliefs about their injury and their pain experience, and then what they expect to happen in their PT care. Really asking them, what do you think is going on? What would successful recovery care look like to you? And we really need to dial ourselves into that injury condition pain and figure out how it really affects their outlook, their goals, their lifestyle. And this all won't come up in that first session naturally, right? Like it's going to happen over time. But it's our job, again, to meet them at their story. And I know it seems really obvious, but if some of us sit and reflect, especially long-term ICERs, and admit it, it's easy to say, we know what is best treatment for a particular condition, right? We know exactly what to test, retest to show them it's working and get buy-in, rather than we have an individualized irritability respecting treatment for Janice or Ty that addresses and gives hope to their unique human experience. It's easy to say a patient is non-compliant, right? When we don't know their story, their personal ties to their goals and beliefs for recovery. It's easy to say Ellen is non-compliant with her shoulder rehab for rotator cuff tendinopathy when we're unaware that she works 2 jobs and has 3 kids and is a single mom, right? This is all ego-based care where the patient's treatment success is more about you than them. And so again, meeting them at their story really prevents all that. Connect with their personal story. Connecting with someone's personal story may be the greatest thing you do for that human before you. We are that unique professional that has the time to do so. And it's the only way that we will actually be able to do our 2 primary roles, which is reframing their experience and then building margin. So let's tackle that first one, reframing their experience in order to create hope ties. And you can only do this if you understand and their story, their expectation. So the main role of our job is to reframe. We're called to validate and hear the story, and then we have to reframe the movement experience and the journey for the better. So let's think about some of those scenarios that I listed earlier. So Joe, it's not a bad knee. It must have been tough to hear, especially since you're the pickleball reigning champion, that your knee is bone on bone and that it's a bad knee. Joe, it's not a bad knee. Your knee is just irritated from that increased pickleball match this past weekend. Those pivoting movements can be irritating sometimes. We can work to calm some things down and then get that knee trained and prepared for all that pickleball has to offer, right? I have some great hip and knee strengthening exercises, some agility work we can do to work on quick movements, and then some endurance work for when those games go long, like it did last weekend. That older adult who lives alone, her name is Sally, and she isn't just an older adult, she's an athlete who you will teach to think about fear of falling as a face everything and rise opportunity, right? You'll help that human with Sally with falls training preparedness, full body strengthening, and eventual jump training. You will help her feel confidence to self sustain, knowing that she has no family nearby. You have to work with her and really build up this mindset. That 10-year-old soccer player with the knee pain, who's worried about his knee, is really because he wants a future as a college athlete because his parents told him that's the only way they'll be able to afford college. And his parents, right, they need to know that the knee will get better, right? But playing 6 days a week, that volume needs to change if they want that college career, right? So we have to reframe realistically as well for our humans. That new mom struggling with postpartum depression, her name is Heather, and you're gonna let her know that, yeah, that painful sex is normal after having a baby, and it is tough and it sucks, but it isn't something she has to live with the rest of her life, and that you will get her back to enjoying that one thing that actually makes her feel like a woman, not just a mom, which is sex. You're gonna help her get back to that and enjoying that. Jose, who has not PR'd his deadlift in a year due to fear of recurrent low back pain coming on again, you're going to give him a bulletproof plan for his spine to hold the line, right? That involves anti flexion, extension, rotation, and side bend exercises. You're not only going to give him exercises that work all around that core canister, but you're going to do a movement analysis on this gent and his deadlift to see if we can improve movement virtuosity, and then give him a plan to boost his deadlift numbers gradually with a promise to partner with him throughout the year to manage any flare ups. I could keep going on, right, with all those scenarios I gave, but you get the point that there are countless examples of humans coming to us, and it's our job to reframe their experience for the better and give them hope. No matter the story or patient population, we will give a frame of hope and positivity, one with more locus of control, one that shifts attention to where that human is in control and they're not a victim to their circumstances. Our number one job is to reframe the human movement experience for the better. Number two, if we do our job best, we not only help them think about their injury, their pain, their concern differently and give them hope, but we build margin. We build margin with giving our humans, our patients, strategies to make their ecosystems less vulnerable. And we do this in two ways: by pushing intensity and then building up their ecosystem. Pushing intensity builds tolerance to stress. We do this by increasing speed, magnitude of load, novelty, testing out PRs, right? Getting to a point where we're looking at 1 rep max testing. Stress tolerance makes someone not just physically more adaptable, but psychologically. The patient that thinks, wow, if I can do this, I bet I can do that, right? Blank. Think about any type of patient that you see in the clinic. If they're thinking that or even saying that out loud, you've not only built trust, but you've built up psychological margin, right? You've built up hope and opportunity to do more. You have breeded more competence and confidence in the movement experience. This is why we are so adamant at every course to working up to greater than 80% 1 rep max for strength. We want to push intensity to build resiliency of tissues. This is also why we push the threshold of a movement task and allow breakdown. Obviously, we respect irritability, right? When we're able to do that, allowing movement breakdowns. So, example, a fall in the older adult, loss of balance or fatigue with a quick pivoting movement with someone with a knee injury. We allow for the unknown under supervision. We create opportunities for risk. And with that, we build resilience in the movement experience, especially when it's a successful attempt. My two favorite statements came out of CrossFit level one training was life comes at you and you have to be ready. And then if it's meaningful, it involves risk. I want my patients to feel like they can take on risk without fear, take on novel movement experiences without fear. And if I do my job well, I'll do that first in the clinic to build up that confidence and competence. The second part of building margin won't surprise you, especially if you're a long term listener, an ICE supporter, but it's those fitness forward conversations, right? Where we gradually and purposely help a patient sleep better, get those 7 to 9 hours of sleep, that we help them meet physical activity guidelines of 150, 300 minutes of moderate activity 5 days a week. We have them doing strength training at a minimum 2 days a week, but hopefully more like 3 to 4 times a week. Education and access to a diet full of eating more plants, nuts, and seeds, making sure they're having enough protein consumption to support activity, anywhere from zero point 0.8 to 1 to 1.6 grams, right, per body weight. Talking about hydration, having half your body weight in ounces. Mindset regulation practices like mindfulness, breathing, yoga, green space, meditation, whatever helps kind of down regulate from a stress management perspective. That's what helps build margin team. And as always, if we don't champion those ecosystem regulators ourselves, there's no way your patient's going to be magnetized to wanting to do that. Fitness forward living is magnetizing and energizing. It helps our patients see through you why fitness forward sleep, diet, hydration is important. Team, to meet a patient at their story, at their humanity is one of the greatest things we can do and greatest privileges we have as physical therapists. Be present to that opportunity. In each division at ICE, extremity, primary care, pregnancy and postpartum, bike fit, rehab of the injured runner, fitness athlete, modern management, older adult, we all seek to reframe a narrative of resilience because we believe in the power of the rewrite so strongly. And then finally, we have to build margin through pushing intensity of the movement experience and through fitness forward living. May we help our patients by not only meeting them at their story, but by reframing, dosing hope, and enriching their story with fitness forward care. I wish you all and your patients health the rest of 2022 and into 2023. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for having me on a Leadership Thursday.